This is Jackie, and I'm here with Mike from two different bands. Tell me about the two bands that you are working with here on Warped Tour.
Well, I'm playing both in Nihiloceros and in TREADS, which are both Brooklyn bands. We did multiple dates on some of the East Coast states. TREADS did New Jersey and the Homedale a couple weeks ago. Yesterday, Nihiloceros played at the One Talk show, and today we're both playing here.
Oh my goodness! How do you juggle two bands? I mean, Warped Tour for a band in general is not easy to juggle. How are you juggling two bands?
I don't know. When you love doing it, you figure out how to make the time. You cram it in your schedule. It's not all that bad.
I think there's something about being from the East Coast, especially like the Northeast Coast. You got the hustle. Like it's instilled in our blood.
Yeah, and it makes sense that the cities aren't that far away, so it's easy to pop cities. You know, when you're doing a 4-hour drive or a 2-hour drive. Versus we're originally from the Midwest, and the cities are much further apart. Touring was a much bigger hassle when everything's 6 to 8 hours away. Yeah.
So let's first talk about TREADS. What's one song you want new listeners to listen to get a good vibe of that band?
Well, I would say Passions is the track that's been getting a lot of traction on Spotify and the streaming services. I got picked up by a Brazilian playlist on Spotify, so it's been getting, people in Brazil really, really love TREADS. But yeah, it's a really good song. It kind of encompasses a lot of the sound that you'll hear on some of the other songs, but it's a solid track. So I would say that's the one to keep your eye out for.
So how would you describe your sound for that band?
TREADS is like a mid-tempo rock and roll band. I mean, there's some punk leanings in there, so that's why we would work on something like the Warped Tour. But just good rock sound, good rock vocals, guitar. I think that's pretty good.
All right. So now the other band is I don't want to butcher the name. You're gonna fix me.
Once you hear it the first time, you're good forever. It's Nihiloceros. So like
Nihiloceros.
Nihilism and rhinoceros if it were one word.
Got it.
And spelled exactly like you would think that would be.
So tell us a little bit about that band sound.
Nihiloceros is a 3-piece guitar, bass, drums. We're a little post-punky, so the definitely rooted in punk. We've grown a little bit out of that. So we're treading into heavier territory, a little sludgy guitar, bass, interplay, that sort of thing. But definitely we still keep some of the pop sensibility. So we try to play around in that area.
What would you say is the biggest difference between the two bands?
Well, TREADS has a female vocalist, and Nihiloceros does not. TREADS is a little, I think, cleaner as far as like song structure and arrangement, and I think Nihiloceros gets a little murkier in those areas. So being able to play guitar in both bands is fun because I get to I definitely have to be more on my toes with some of the TREADS songs, and being the only guitarist in the other band and writing those parts in a different way allows me to, I don't have to be as careful, I guess.
And I think you mentioned to me in Nihiloceros, you guys donate proceeds to charities often. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
We do. I mean, shortly after kind of everything that was going on with the election, and just a lot of things there was a lot of initiatives in Brooklyn, things like Our Wicked Lady doing the Thursdays for the cause, and DIY venues like Pet Rescue and places like that, sort of really stepping up their game to, do a little bit better at, getting the word out of causes that are important I know, and personally myself, I find that none of us are making enough money off of music for it to be, it's not paying our bills and our rent. So, if we're making a few $100s off of a show or $20 off of a show or selling T-shirts for $10, we've been we sort of made an initiative right before the last EP came out to essentially all of the proceeds that we make from a show, if we're not playing a specific benefit show, we give it to a benefit that's something that we care about at that time. And I think that's just a better way to be using that money for something that's more important than like, oh, we got $20 more. Like, what is that really going to do for us personally?
Yay, a beer or two.
Right.
Or no, Brooklyn, a beer.
Right, exactly. And I think it makes a much bigger splash in a cause that is more important than I mean, music is selfish enough as it is, so I feel that, anything we can do to make a little bit less. Touring is the only thing where we keep the money ourselves because we try to pay back and make sure we at least break even on tour and don't lose too much cash. But as far as anything that's a local show and like merch sales and stuff like that, we try to find something to make sure we're donating that money to.
So with social media being kind of an ugly place, I feel like, in 2018. Do you feel that it is a musician's role to use their platform to either speak about political views or social causes, or only if that's part of their roots, or where do you sort of draw the line?
Well, I think that I don't think it's necessarily their responsibility to, because I mean, everyone's in music for whatever it is. I mean, some people just want to like make fun pop music and have no, interest in I don't think you should feign any sort of cause for anything that you don't care about. And also, I mean, there are bands that are super political in their lyrics and what they write about. We're not that, so I don't think you need to be a political band to have, as a person, political ideas and feelings and things that you care about. So we're not really that political lyrically, but I mean, as people, we care about things. So we personally find it to be a responsibility of ours to do something, and we made that choice, a year or so ago to sort of make that the thing that we do moving forward. But I'm not slighting anyone who doesn't feel the same way.
Right on. I appreciate that. So you mentioned Treads is on a South American Spotify list, or Brazilian, which is in South America. Buy a map, kids.
So it is South American. Yeah. I don't even know how we ended up getting picked up on it, but it's pretty cool. So
what role do you see Spotify having in the music industry in 2018?
Well, I mean, that seems to be the direction everything's going. Our drummer actually in Treads works for Spotify, so that would be a better question.
Maybe that's how they got on that. No, I'm just kidding.
No, there's actually, I found this out from him. There, just like with any company you work for, it actually works against you because you're sort of like not allowed to do things that you otherwise would be. So it can be a detriment. But he does know some stuff that is good to know about, like how the platforms work and all that.
So what role do music videos have for you guys?
I don't know. I feel like we should always be making more of them. We don't make enough anymore. We've done a handful. I don't know. Music videos obviously were a bigger thing a long time ago when MTV was a thing.
God, I miss that channel.
No, well, when they played music. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. They're fun. I don't really necessarily know how much like storyboarded scripted music videos are, consumed by people. I don't know if that's something that people are necessarily all that interested in anymore. Maybe they are. I find a lot of things we've done recently are like good live sessions where you're in a studio and they're miking stuff and they do a couple takes and they piece together, or even just do one live take and put it out there. Because I think it's a little more indicative of how you're playing live, and I find those more interesting personally. I think that at least in New York, that seems to be something that people watch a little bit more than three people running through like hallways and like trying to save the person. I don't know, and plus we're not actors, so I've done music videos where they've written a storyboard up for us, and then I've tried to be like, well, we don't really want to be the actors in the music video, but then you end up like it just comes across as silly. I don't know.
It goes a little silly. Yeah. So what's up next for you guys after Warped Tour?
Well, this is the last date that we're playing, and then we're going back to New York tonight, driving straight through. So NIHILOCEROS is playing this coming Thursday in Brooklyn, and a couple dates in August. Treads has a few dates in August, mid-month as well. So yeah, August and September, relatively busy. NIHILOCEROS is doing some Midwest and definitely stuff I think in October in the Midwest, and then I think we're going back to Canada next year.
Well, stay tuned for much more from NIHILOCEROS and Treads. This is Jackie. Thanks to Chorus FM and In the Key of Change.